Hi everyone, it's Shamila Ramjawan coming to you from the Red Corner Show in Johannesburg, South Africa. Today on my show, I got Dr. Shahista Khan from South Africa, who is a specialist physician. Dr. Khan manages a stressful internal medicine practice based at Netcare Krugersdorp. She's a woman of immense drive and passion. She hails from Port Elizabeth in the Eastern Cape, matriculated at the Westering High School, then pursued her medical career at the University of Witwatersrand. Her internship was completed at the Steve Biko Academic Hospital. Dr. Khan taught undergrad medicine and cardiology at Sefako Makgatho University. She then pursued an MSc in Clinical Epidemiology and Clinical Trials in Biostatistics at the University of Pretoria. In 2013, she began specializing in internal medicine at the same university, passing her examinations after just 3 years to become one of the earliest completers at the College of Medicine. She also received her MMed from the University of Pretoria. Dr. Khan, what an impressive bio. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. I'm well tonight. How are you?
Very well, thank you. You look absolutely gorgeous. And I'm so humbled and overjoyed to have you on my show because I think you're going to share some really insightful messages out there and create a lot of awareness to our audience.
It's a pleasure and an honor, and thank you for having me.
Before we go right into the conversation, please tell us a little bit about Dr. Khan.
Okay, so you know about my educational history. Of recent times, I've been practicing in Netcare Krugersdorp, which has been very exciting for me. I love working with patients. Another thing I did before that was I worked in corporate for a few years, and I sort of missed patients so much that I went back to specialize in medicine and do the job I do today. We have a lovely practice with many brilliant patients that I get to spend time with on a daily basis. And I'm busy with a breast cancer campaign. I'm busy, hopefully, being a role model to young females, especially young females of color who want to get out there, become doctors, become future leaders. And that's really what I'm passionate about.
You're truly amazing and a real role model, and you are really going to inspire the young leaders of today. So what was your motivation to do medicine?
So I have wanted to be a doctor for as long as I can remember. My mom tells stories of me and my cousin playing with teddy bears, and me, my cousin's a boy. I would always make him be the nurse, and I would always want to be the doctor. And instead of playing with those teddies, we do like fake operations and things like that. So it's always been my passion, and I wanted to give back to people. I believe there can be no better service to God than to give to his people. And this is my small way of giving back.
Wow, what a good reason to do medicine. Just to help. I think that's your passion and purpose, and you do it so well. But in terms of being a female physician, it must be really challenging out there. Just take me through that.
Okay, so it's a lot of, firstly, something somebody once told me always rings true in my mind when I think about being a female physician. They said, you'll have to work 10 times as hard to be taken half as seriously, which I think is true. It's horrible, but in the male-dominated world, I came through still in a time when there was a lot of male doctors becoming physicians. Female doctors were still considered to be those who would take the easier specialities than internal medicine, but got through that. And I remember the first time I got to my practice, I met an older doctor, and he said to me, yeah, I think you'll be fine on the call roster, but I don't think you'll become very popular in the area because I'm not sure you can speak Afrikaans. And he had another thing coming. I'm very fluent in Afrikaans. And also the patients have just absolutely been supportive and been absolutely lovely. And they don't seem to see a difference between a man and a woman. Sometimes I do get called nurse, but I'm okay with that.
So humbling. Well, I think coming from the Eastern Cape, I think that's where you learned to speak Afrikaans.
Yes. Afrikaans, a little bit of isiXhosa. Not that that's useful here because Sotho is our main language, but it was great.
Awesome. Do you miss the Eastern Cape, especially Port Elizabeth?
It's a completely different life. There is no rat race. Our version of traffic would be your general morning drive in Johannesburg. A small one down the road on a Saturday would be traffic for us. So I miss the beach. I miss relaxing. I miss the way that everything there is more family orientated. And in Johannesburg, you have to make a conscious effort to take yourself away from work and give that time to your family. So there is some great parts to being in the Eastern Cape, but there's great parts about Gauteng. There's nice things to do. And of course, it's the best shopping ever in Johannesburg.
Oh, yes. Tell me about it. Yes, we addicted to that. But I think, just Port Elizabeth itself is so relaxed. I love going there for a holiday. Everybody's late. It's sort of laid back. You can go there and just have a good break.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shock when you first step into Joburg.
Yes, I can imagine. Dr. Khan, you've done so much. You completed your 24 months in critical care and you're now studying towards the PhD in outcomes in ICU. Why and where to from here? Is this outside of your practice? Take me through that journey of yours.
Yes. So after about a year in practice, I'm a habitual studier. So I think when you grow up and when you decide to study medicine, you sort of commit so many years of your life to high school, medical school, all those things. Then you don't know what to do when you're not studying. And also I find that I don't like to stagnate. I don't like my brain to stagnate. I like to keep ahead of the times with the most updated evidence. And at the end of my internal medicine, I decided what next? So the one thought was do cardiology. And the other thought was do ICU, because ICU is, I feel, the more challenging option. And I was very lucky to get in contact with Prof. Mervyn Mer and start my ICU journey there at Charlotte Matriculating, which I believe is probably the best place to study ICU and critical care. And that's been absolutely amazing. Yes, it's outside of my practice. So I go to Joburg Gen and I run the ICU there sometimes as well.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Tell me about COVID-19. I know the ICU has been really, really busy with patients from all over. The hospitals have been full. Your experience?
Okay, so between Charlotte and my practice, I've treated over 2,000 COVID positive patients in hospital. I don't do outpatient COVID management, although I do outpatient medicine. So it was initially very scary. I have to say I was one of those people who ran around with the disposable scrubs and the disposable jumpsuit, and I would come home, throw it out, jump into the hot shower, as scalding as possible. So that was the fears in the beginning when we first met this disease, that it was unknown. It was challenging, but I always love a challenge. So it was great to be able to learn things and be the first person to learn something. So at Krugersdorp, we pioneered the early trachea as care. So we patients who needed a ventilator, we actually early by day 2, if we saw they were going to be long-term on the ventilator, we put the tube into the neck so we could wake them up. They didn't need sedation. And we'd be able to feed them. They were able to help with their physio, get in and out of chairs. And this is why I believe we've had such a successful rate in decreasing post-ICU morbidity. And we also had one of the lowest mortalities for COVID patients. So I think this early management was what helped a lot. And that's been taken up by Charles Patreke and been spread out from there. So I think that was one of my excellent learning points. I think it's been devastating emotionally to see the death on the scale we've seen it. There's never before been the type of disease, short of possibly HIV in the beginning stages in the country, that's done this. Mm-hmm. And the patients are relatively healthy. Like 2 weeks before this, there were patients who were healthy walking around, and 2 weeks later they passed on, and you've got to break that news to the family. Sure. That is soul-wrenching. As a doctor, we study what we study to cure. It's not a nice way to think of it, but we like to think of ourselves as small heroes, every time we get to save a life. And with COVID, sometimes no matter what you did, you couldn't save the life. And that was that sort of powerlessness in medicine, I think the only time you feel such powerlessness is with cancer. With cancer patients in the end stages. That's how it was. And this time we couldn't even give the care of being able to touch our patients, to hold a hand, to give a little bit of solace, to hug somebody. We were not letting families in to see the family members. So they would drop their family member over and get a call to say the person's passed away. Oh. Obviously, it's heart-wrenching to watch that in families. Sometimes it was the breadwinner, the father of the family. Sometimes the patients were in their 50s, which is relatively young. It was really, really soul-wrenching. So as a country, it's great to see people come together, great to see people vaccinate, great to see us overcoming it. But the journey to here has been quite heartbreaking.
I can imagine you've got to endure all of that and, still pull on that straight face and, see to the family and see to other patients as well. But in terms of having a family, you have a family, and how did you feel at the time? You're treating all these people and you still have to go home. What sort of precautions did you take?
So I think scared would be the word. I have a mum who's 70 years old who lives with me. And I was pregnant through Corona. On top of everything else. So I've got a baby who's 5 months old. And I could not vaccinate. So I think fear. So really, the precautions do work. I have not had COVID after the 2,000 patients treated. And I believe the reason for that is the one thing I did do is I put a glass across the middle of my consultation room. And I put in air conditioning on both sides. So both the patient has their own air supply. I have my own air supply. And then when I go across to examine the patient, I put on full PPE. So we get to have a nice conversation where we can talk and see each other's faces, etc. during the conversation part. And then during the examination part, I put on everything, go examine my patients in the offices. And then, of course, as I said, I was wearing, I would put on 2 pairs of disposable scrubs. One I would take off after being in the ward. The second one I'd take off at the door of the hospital. The third one I'd take off in the garden and jump into the shower before I got into the house. Wow. But really, vaccinations have made me quite, I feel a little bit more confident. My mom is vaccinated. Hubby and I are both vaccinated, just waiting for the kids to be, allowed.
That's good. Well done on whatever you do, saving lives. And I'm sure it must have been really stressful just signing off those death certificates, because if we look at the number of deaths, it's quite crazy. So let's just move on a little bit and talk about the ABCs of weight loss, because I think, this is such a pertinent topic, especially when it comes to female. We're all worried about our weight. We want to do everything to try and lose weight. Some of us want to gain weight. Please take me through that.
Okay, so a lot of people think weight loss is rocket science, or rather weight management is rocket science. It's really not. It's basically simple maths. It's about the calories you put in versus the calories expended. So in a woman, an average sized woman, she should be intaking around about 1,800 to 2,000 calories per day. And for a man, that's about 2,500 calories. And as long as you're putting in less calories than you expend, you'll lose weight. If you put in more calories than you expend, you gain weight. For about every 7,000 extra calories you put into your body, you gain a kilo. And if you want to lose a kilo, that's 7,000 calories you need to take out from the diet over however long you're doing it. So for example, if you were to eat a diet of 1,700, saying normal is 1,800, you had to eat a diet of 1,700 calories. You would have to, that would be 100 calories saved per day, right? You need 7,000 to lose a kilo. That would mean it takes you 70 days to lose 1 kilo.
Oh my goodness. No, well, I can relate to that, because you go for a walk, and if you do 5Ks, you're actually burning off about between 300 and 400 calories. So that will take a lifetime. It's exactly what you put into your mouth.
Yes, well, it's budget. So, we're going to talk about the diseases and the hormones and stuff that can stunt your metabolism. But with a normal metabolism, that's how it works. So for example, if you're exercising and you're burning off, let's say you're burning off 150 calories and you make your diet 1,500 calories, right? Then you're saving 300, 400, 550 calories a day. That way, it would take you 14 days to burn off a kilo. right? Which means every month you could lose 2 kilos if you kept to the diet and didn't cheat, right? If you do even more than that, you exercise even more than that. Let's say you are saving 400 calories and you're exercising another 300 calories, that's 700 calories. That's losing a kilo every 10 days. We don't really want to lose more than a kilo every 2 weeks because then the skin doesn't really get time to adjust, and that's when you get stretch marks and you get saggy skin. So that's about where you want to aim. And as long as you balance it like a budget, what you put in versus what you put out, and every day you get 1,800 to spend per day, and how you spend it and how you save is how your body will look.
So I'm thinking about this. Sorry, my mind is just like racing with all these thoughts. So it's a matter of choice, right? Do you want the saggy skin or do you want the fat?
And also, do you want the chocolate donut, or do you want to look thin?
Oh, yum! I'll have both. But if you think about it, I think you have to bring exercise into it, because if you do exercise and you manage it properly, then you won't have that sagging skin over time.
Yes, it has to be over time. Look, technically, you could live without food for 21 days as long as you drink water. No one is advocating that. But you'd lose a ton of weight, right? That is very unhealthy. What will happen at the end? You will be thin, but you'll be incredibly ill. You'll probably be admitted to hospital. So it has to be a balance. If you want quick weight loss, then quick weight loss is normally the weight loss that's not sustained, because it takes about 18 months at your goal weight to reset the set point in your brain so it stays there. So we all have a set point in our brain, and that's why people yo-yo back to their weight. And that's why you can probably be, let's say you're 80 kilos, and you'll say you've been 80 kilos for 5 years, no matter what you eat. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's a set point in your brain, right? If you want to be 60 kilos, you'd have to get down to 60, stay there for 18 months, and then your brain would reset to that set point.
Wow, amazing. I'm definitely going to replay this over and over and over to get the good advice here. So I have a condition, sorry. I've got an underactive thyroid, and my weight fluctuates. I'm like a yo-yo sometimes, like a seesaw, sorry. It goes up, and I pack on all this weight, and I look really bloated, and then other days I'm super skinny. Tell me about that, please.
Okay. So the thyroid is a butterfly-shaped gland that sits here in the body, and what's its main responsibility is to create hormones that basically control your basal metabolic rate. So your basal metabolic rate is what allows you to use calories for energy even when you're not exercising. Okay. So if your basal metabolic rate drops because your thyroid is underactive, as yours is, hypothyroidism, it means that you're burning less every day, which means you can eat less, which means if you had to eat the same as a normal person when it's not working, you'd gain weight.
Okay.
Because the rate is now lower. You're also not going to make heat, so you're going to feel very cold. Hair loss will ensue, so you'll lose hair on your head as well as the outer third of your eyebrow. And then you will retain water. And that is probably the swelling and bloating that you're talking about.
Yes, I definitely retain water. That I know for sure. The hair loss, yes. I went through a really bad patch where I had patches on my head, and I had to go to a dermatologist and have injections. Luckily, it's all grown now. But yes, I did have all those symptoms as well.
And constipation, as well as the only thing that runs fast with hypothyroidism is your period. So heavy periods is the other one.
Well, yes. Definitely, I had that too. Not so much the constipation, but the tiredness and the insomnia, lots of that.
Okay, yes. So with that, how do we manage it? Well, firstly, it depends on the cause. The basic management is going to be a hormone called altroxin. We want to put you into the normal state of thyroid, unless we're biohacking. If we biohack you a bit higher into the normal range. So biohacking is a process of not only getting you into normal, but getting you into optimum peak physical performance. That's another thing I do. It's another company of mine called Autonomic Coaching, where we do biohacking. And what we do then is we take you to the higher third. your thyroid normal range, right? And that will increase your metabolic rate so that you lose more weight and you're feeling more energetic. And we do that with allotoxin. Now, hypothyroidism can be caused by an autoimmune disease called Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is the most common cause that we see. What happens then is initially the patient becomes hashitoxic, they become hypothyroid. So first they will have gone through a process of losing weight, being able to eat whatever they like and being fine with lots of energy. And then comes the dip of the hypothyroidism after.
Okay.
And that's probably, I mean, I'm not sure, but that's probably what you had. You probably have a time before when you were doing really well.
Yes, I'm now on the generic of allotoxin, Euthyrox. I'm on 0.75.
How much?
0.75. Or is it 0.
Okay. Oh.
Yes, I've got
no,
to take,
it's
a 0.5 and a 0.25 that I've got to take every morning.
No, you're correct. 0.75, 75 micrograms of thyroid hormone per day. And your doctor will titrate that. High for one person, the doses differ. One person might need 150. I've got a patient who needs 250 versus another patient who needs 25. We do that by monitoring your thyroid function, and we look at your thyroid stimulating hormone. And if that's kept in the normal range, then it means the thyroid is being kept where you need it to be.
Wow. Okay, this is becoming more like a consultation, but I just want to find out something. So, I just find, even my daughter will relate to this. When I don't take it, when I miss my medication just for a few hours, she just notices that I didn't take my medication because I end up like really sad and dull and lots of emotion and headaches. So is that normal?
Yes, so depression and anxiety, because the thyroid hormone doesn't last very long in the system. So you have to take your dosages. I mean, your dosages are scheduled to be taken every day. If you miss the amount in the blood is going down and you're getting all that hypothyroid effect. And yes, depression and anxiety, tearfulness is part of it.
Yes. Wow. To the audience, if you're listening, please stick to your medication and stick to the times. Dr. Khan, what is perimenopause? It's something that we're going to talk about now.
Yes, so perimenopause is that area around menopause. Specifically, the one that we want to talk about is the premenopausal, just before menopause, because women have yet to understand that they're going into menopause, but they're starting to see all these changes in their body. So they're starting to see maybe their metabolic rates decrease. They're finding it more difficult to lose weight, moodiness, the hot flushes may be starting, but the period hasn't stopped yet. The period's still normal. And in that phase, it can be very difficult emotionally for women as well, because they're suddenly now lacking hormones like estrogen and progesterone. And this can be a very difficult time. And I'm quite passionate about helping women in this time to get through that, because you want to be living your optimal life. And it's almost like for women, we look at that area of our time when we are able to conceive a child as being our optimal years. I think it's a false sense of thinking that's our best lives that we're living. So it's very difficult for women when they see they're going through those changes. And some women go through those changes as early as 32 to 36 years old with early menopause.
Gosh, poor women, that's early.
Very early. And we can actually delay that for them.
Okay. Wow. I must actually say that I'm very fortunate because I feel that I haven't been through those stages. At 50,
no, exceptional. That's exceptional because it varies in families. If you want to know your age of menopause, speak to your mom if you have older sisters, siblings, or aunts, basically the females in your family. Around about the age generally is similar between the women in the family. So you'll find if you went through menopause so late or is only going through it later in life, that in your family, that is the norm.
So it's genetic. Wow. So interesting. I could go on talking to you, but just take me through this. You're involved in prevention and screening of breast cancer, and you also received the Panache Women of the Year Award. Tell me about your involvement in breast cancer, which is so interesting. And, we're heading into Breast Cancer Awareness Month next month, and just what you do with these initiatives.
Okay, so we have a breast center of excellence called the SJF Breast Center of Excellence. It's the only woman-run center for breast. What we feel is that it takes a woman to understand a woman losing her breast. So what we do is we do a lot of screening, and during the month of October, which is coming up now, we go out to malls, we go to schools, to the teachers, we go to various different, like the police centers behind us. And what we do is we help with screening, and we give out screening papers, pamphlets, we give out education. During the month of October, we collect, last year, I think we collected about 80,000 Rand, which we donated to different cancer funds. And we also make little boxes, which are for the women who are diagnosed with breast cancer, which have a few necessities and things to make their journey a little bit more comfortable, something to do while they're waiting in the line to get seen, something for their lips, some hand cream, basic things just to make herself feel like a woman. And then when the cancer is, we do a lot of screening with mammography and stuff like that. When the cancer is diagnosed, then they get a consultation with our general surgeon and with our plastic surgeon and with myself to plan surgery. We then have a multidisciplinary team meeting. We have a meeting with our oncologists. We have psychologists, also female. We have a physiotherapy team that's all female. We all get together and we talk about the plan going forward. And then we walk the woman from the diagnosis all the way to cure. Or if we're in stage 4, then we walk them through the palliative care path.
A true humanitarian at heart. Well done. How did it feel when you got the Panache Woman of the Year award?
Unexpected. I was quite shocked when I was nominated, and it was amazing to be a part of that journey. It was great. There were a lot of other women, exceptional women that I met, and a community that was formed that's very, very supportive. All the women there are into empowering other women. So it's a great collective to be in, and I felt really blessed and honored, to be given that gift of receiving that award.
That's wonderful. And Farzana Mait is doing such incredible work. I received the award in 2016. So
exceptional.
And she's touched so many lives, and she's just doing a lot to empower women. But just talking about your initiatives and what you're doing, how do you balance work and personal responsibilities? Because you're an entrepreneur, you're a medical doctor, physician, you are now working in the hospital, you are doing humanitarian work, you have a family. How do you do
it? Good time management, and I think an excellent partner. I have the most supportive husband. I have a best friend who's absolutely amazing. I have my sister, and my mom lives with me. And I have a great team. I have an amazing nanny. So believe me, it doesn't happen on its own. I also think I say no to some things so that I can say yes to other things. That was a great learning for me. So I do have some boundaries where I'll say, no, this is family time. Most of the time, I'm 100% available, and I'm with my patients most of the time, but I do make special time for my family. And I'm lucky to just have my support structure where even if I have to go away, if I have to go and be at the gym for a week at a time, and normally my days then run from about 5 a.m. till 9 p.m. every day. Then my husband comes to the floor, he takes over with the kids, manages the homework, and sorts everything out.
Wow, that is amazing. Well done to him. It's so, you need a supportive partner in all of this, especially when you're so career driven and so passionate about what you do as well. Because I'm sure when you are treating a patient, you don't clock watch.
No, like you look then you realize you missed 2 meals and you're still by the same bed.
Oh, wow. Hats off to you. So just on that note, you've done so much. What do you think would be your greatest accomplishment?
Definitely, I think it's being a mom. I think all my other achievements are amazing humanitarian work and everything else. But one day when I lay on my deathbed, I think this will have been the achievement, my family. I've got an awesome, amazing son who's 10 years old. I've got a daughter who's 6 and my 5-month-old. And they are absolutely the lights of my life, and being able to mold human beings who I hope one day will step forward into the humanitarian world the way I have. I hope I grow them up to have the same culture I have, to be able to want to give to others.
You're a great leader, and they're going to follow in your steps for sure. But if you could go back 5 years, what would you tell yourself?
So I think anything is possible. I do have a little story there. When I was in pharmaceuticals, we did this life coaching, and I did a little booklet. And the booklet said, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? And basically, we just collaged. So I collaged a whole lot of things together, and then I forgot about the book. And 5 years later, I opened it up, and I'd achieved every single one of those things. Like specialist physician was written in there, and travel to Egypt was written in there. Have another child was written in there, and I'd achieved all of those things. Wow. So that nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible for a woman who's driven. You just need to find the right means, the right partners, and anything is possible. And also, don't let other people judge you. Other people's judgments, and don't let other people's naysayers tell you you can't do it. Because a lot of people will say to you, you can't. Tell them, watch me.
Yes, watch the space. Use the tagline, watch the space. Well done to you. And, I think it's so important to put out your intentions and just write them down. But like you said, they've come true. It's like sort of dreaming. You just dream and you dream bigger.
I believe it's called manifestation.
Yes, it is.
But the great part about it, I think, is that when you put it out there, you actively work towards it. So mine is to be a billionaire so that I can literally spend all my time then on humanitarian causes.
Love that.
And have my own foundation and stuff like that. So I'm working very hard to get there so that I can then be a humanitarian, and I want to be relaxed with my family, spend more time with my husband. And hopefully by the time I am 43, that will happen.
Wow, that is a nice goal to have. I always say, I wish I could do more. And I wish I could do more for the youth and for single parents, single mothers, single women. But hopefully, if the little that we do, we touch so many hearts, which is great.
Yes, we do. And I think even if you can't give money, you can at least give your time. And if you can't give your time, at least give a kind word.
Yes, love that. Always try and put a smile on someone's face. So what can we expect from Dr. Khan in the near future?
So for now, I am opening up a new hospital in Cresta called the Johannesburg Surgical Hospital. And I'll be running the ICU there together with Dr. Ismail Kala. That's my new project, my PhD in outcomes, and a few more clinical trials or papers that I'd like to write will be coming out. And then no more kids. That's not on the cards. Don't expect that. But I think look out for me doing a lot of humanitarian work. Look out for me getting women to their goals, getting women to their goal weights, emotionally to goals. Men, we also would love you to be at your goals, but I'm very passionate about women's empowerment.
Let's involve the men. They can also come to your surgery, your rooms, and you can see.
No, they can. No, we do. We do a lot of testosterone work as well for men. We do a lot of hormonal work for men, which maybe if you're open to it, we can talk about in November. I also have an initiative where we do men's prostate cancer and erectile dysfunction. We call it Movember. So.
Okay, well, let's have that chat again in November.
Yes, we can do something on men's health.
Absolutely, love it. So, Dr. Khan, if somebody wants to get hold of you and join your initiatives or want to consult with you, how do they get hold of you?
You can contact me at Netcare Krugersdorp Hospital, 011-951-0543 is my practice number, and that's obviously available during working hours. Otherwise, you can catch me on Instagram, you can catch me on Facebook. So Instagram, it's Dr._Shahista_Khan. And on Facebook, it's Shahista Khan. Look forward to hearing from people. And I'm always open to answering health questions or anything. You don't have to come see me and pay me money. If I can help you over a message, I will.
Just like what you did for me tonight. Thank you so much, Dr. Khan. Your last words for our audience.
Thank you to everyone. Have a blessed evening and a blessed month ahead. And to all the ladies out there, please do your breast screening if you haven't had your mammogram and you're over 40. Otherwise, your breasts sewn up. Please remember to have your pap smears. Gents out there, please be the amazing, supportive, wonderful role models that we have to all our girls and boys that are growing up out there.
What an amazing message to end the show. Thank you, Dr. Khan, for coming on the show and sharing your words of wisdom and inspiration, and also creating the awareness on so many different topics in just 30 minutes. I truly appreciate it. And to everyone out there, if you would like to be on the show, please contact me. Drop me an email, redcornershow@gmail.com, and you too could be inspiring others. Thank you for watching. Bye.